Okay, guys, I am here with my daughter Chandler. Last week, this is gonna be a quick one. It's not gonna be a really big one. I'm just kind of adding this in here because she just sat down and started telling me a story about something that just kind of blew my mind. My daughter last week, Tressa, told me about her friend Lily had a really bad experience at a park here that we have called Ricketts Glen. It is a very, very highly wooded state park where you can go up. There's a big lake there. You can swim. Yeah, you can. There's waterfall trails. It's just beautiful. It's really well known around our area. And lo and behold, Chandler sat here and told me she was just up at Ricketts Glen, and
I didn't know about Tressa.
she didn't know anything about Tressa's friend having this experience, and she just sat down and started telling me about an experience she just had at Ricketts Glen, and I'm just like, you've got to be kidding me. So apparently something has moved in up there because I've never heard of anybody else that I know of having problems up at this state park. I'm sure they've been around, but this is crazy. So I'm gonna get her. Yeah, she's not used to doing this, so bear with her. She's here with me, and she's gonna tell you what happened to them on this hike they just went on. Okay, take it from here.
So on May 6th was Paul's birthday, and me, him, and our dog Violet, and his brother Justin, and our good friend Tim went out to Ricketts Glen, and they don't know, but Justin and Tim don't know about it. Like, they don't know that we felt this or anything like that. So it's basically just a me and Paul interaction. It's always just me and Paul feeling stuff.
Now, Paul and Chandler are avid hikers, and they love to hike and, do all that camping and stuff. And their dog, just to give you a visual, she is a big husky dog. And, we all know that, I don't know if you guys all know, but I know of a lot of disappearances where they have dogs. And there's a lot. I don't know if you know that, but people think they have a dog and it protects them, and it doesn't.
Violet, when I have her, it actually kind of scares me sometimes, because if something were to, I don't know, tease me with her or something, because my heartstrings are going to go out. I don't know, it's almost like a liability. It's like a kid, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you feel like you have to protect her. A
little scared, yeah.
Okay.
Because so we were going down, and we weren't even 5 minutes in, and I had a voice in my head tell me to stay back. I said, the voice in my head told me to stay in the very back of the pack, behind all the guys. And I took my gun with me because I just purchased my first really good handgun, and it's a 9mm. And I was like, well, this is a good time in case we run into a bear. I don't know. It's Ricketts Glen. It's pretty wooded. You're in the woods, and so something told me, you have to stay in the back. You're protected. You're guarded.
Because she's a devout Christian.
Yeah.
So something light on the lighter side was making you feel.
Yeah, the fact that I had my cross on, the fact that I was I had my gun on me, it was just something was telling me that right now at this very point in time, that your energy and everything about you is that you're guarded, you're stronger, and
it said that you were stronger and that they would take the weaker ones.
Well, that's what. So later down, I didn't tell anybody about this, but the guys were like, why are you taking so long to come up? And it was really weird though. As soon as I entered the park, I had no issues. As soon as I entered the park, 2 minutes later, I got really, really bad cramps. Really bad cramps, in my stomach. And I was like, I need to go take some ibuprofen. That was really weird because I wasn't experiencing any issues. All of a sudden, as soon as I got there, boom.
Yeah.
I was like,
well,
okay.
You said you also felt that hum.
Yeah. So this later. So Paul, we were halfway through the hike, and then Paul looks at me and he goes, I feel uncomfortable. And he goes, I don't know. I've just been feeling and sensing weird stuff. And I was like, I know, me too.
Wow.
And he just we always connected with that stuff. It doesn't take very long for him to start saying something, and then I'll add on.
Well, I marvel at you two because you two are always so in sync. You'll think something and not know he's feeling it, or you'll feel it, and then he'll come to you later and say, or vice versa, and say, I'm not. You both feel and think stuff at the same time. Yeah.
Well, he looked at me, and I didn't even tell him about me staying in the back of the pack. He goes, something came in my head 5 minutes into us walking, and he goes, something said, I'll take the weak ones, or I like to
said
take
that
the
to
weak
Paul.
It said it to Paul, and it wasn't a good thing that said it.
Right.
It was something told him in his head that it'll take the weak ones.
Yeah, they're telepathic.
And
these entities.
Paul was like, what? You know what I mean? He's like, okay, that's a little unnerving, I feel like that. And Violet, a couple times, she would look off and stare off in the direction, and I'd be like, she's a hunter. Violet,
right.
If she picks up on something, she smells something, she hones in. So the fact that she was honing in on nothing, quote unquote nothing,
right,
is concerning. She's done that to me a couple of times, and I've seen she catches on people. We've gone on walks, like on bike paths and stuff like that.
yeah,
And she'll notice people like off in the woods before I even do, and I'll look over and I'll just see people walking around. So she can see and hear things way more better than I can.
Oh yeah, they do. I think that's why a lot of the times you hear these stories where a lot of these Sasquatch encounters, Bigfoot encounters, dogman encounters, they kill the dogs.
Yeah, because
they kill them because they warn them, and they
well, it's a problem. But so we were walking, and then we were up at this one waterfall, and it was like, I think the second one after the really, really big one. There's like the Gungoya waterfall, and then I think after that's like a Niga or something like that. And we were at that one. All of a sudden in my chest, it was like my chest started vibrating, and it was like so low, like I couldn't hear it, but I could hear it. Yeah. Like it's almost like, like a dog whistle when it goes off. Yeah. It's like that, but really low.
It is.
And it's like a hum, and it's like goes through the air, and then nobody else picked it up, but I was like I could feel it. It's more like you could feel it instead of hear it, but you could feel and hear it if you really paid attention. And it only happened for a little bit, and then I looked at Paul, and then we kept hearing really weird noises. Like on top of all this stuff, we were hearing like weird, like not normal-ish noises. Like it could be explainable, but also at the same time, you're like, that's kind of weird. And we kept hearing these dogs go off like all the time, and we're like, what? Like we don't even see any dogs. It was really weird. There's no dogs. There's no dogs.
They imitate creatures. They imitate them to a T. And that infrasound is something that it can literally debilitate you.
Yeah. Well, and then the one thing that I kept getting this feeling that there was this big, dark and brown, like hairy thing. That was huge.
Sasquatch.
In the fucking woods. You know what I mean? Pardon my language. But it was just like, every time I turned around, I would feel like I was going to see something peek above a tree, and stare at us. And what really scared me was that there was a point in which that we had to decide whether we were going to go to look for more waterfalls or we were going to go back to the truck. And then I was sitting there, and the guys were like, I don't know, they were just kind of like messing around, moving like some rocks and stuff like that. And then all of a sudden I saw this vision of this big, scary, hairy, brown, black thing coming and running at us, screaming. And I had this because usually I'm a pretty confident, like, I can usually take some things, I go through scenarios in my head, like, if this happens, this is what I can do. Right. I had this really, really intense fear, like, came over me. Yeah. And that's never really happened before. I will admit to you, like, I had this, like, oh my gosh, like, what if something does come at me like that? Like, what am I going to do? And I got, like, really, really scared. And I said, guys, we're leaving. And then we all got up and left. And then when that happened, I felt like that was like a really good decision, because after that, the feeling of being watched and stuff like that really calmed down. And it was really weird because where we were going to go into was going to, like, we were about to, like, go down these stairs and, like, we were about to get into some really hiking, trying to get down to more waterfalls. And we were going to be, like, at a less advantage because we were going to be way lower. So, that was really scary. And,
well, they project, messages, words, all that telepathically. I think we all have that ability, but it's been hidden from us. Yeah. So we pick up on, but that is how they communicate. That hunter that I spoke with, that Victor, he said that he believes that they can communicate with us telepathically. Yeah. He in fact, he knows it.
I couldn't communicate with them. Like,
no, they communicate with you.
But it wasn't coming, like, I was actually feeling more like something from my guardian angel or God. Yeah. Trying to tell me. I was also being told, like, don't get off the path. Yeah. If you get off the path, you're going to get lost, quote unquote, lost.
Yeah, there's
it's something kept telling me you're gonna get lost if you leave the path.
Lost as in,
like,
you can walk into another dimension.
Like that's what, but it kept saying you're gonna get lost. Right. And I was like it was really lost. Like, it was like really hitting you, like, lost. You're going to get lost.
Well, that's what.
And that was on our way back. So, like, I didn't feel it down on the way into the waterfalls. Right. But when I made the decision, we have to go back to the truck because the guys are like, because the guys are really indecisive. They're like, I don't know what we're gonna do, and I was like, well, we're gonna go back. And then we, like, usually one of us will redirect the whole group. Yeah. And I made a decision, we're going back. And then I got this message like, don't leave anybody behind. Right. Don't go off the path. You're going to get lost. Yeah. And then I was like, okay.
It's the point of, they call it the point of separation, When somebody gets set, usually what happens is what's believed is that the infrasound that they do, it actually makes people sick. It makes you feel ill. And that person that they target that gets ill feeling separates himself from the group. And that's the person that they either get that person or they might be targeting another person.
You know, it's really funny. I got sick. I heard the infrasound and I did separate myself from the group.
Yep.
But I need to be careful.
I know.
Because I was talking to Jesus a lot.
That has a lot to do with it. I was
talking to Jesus a lot.
Yep.
And I was like, I do that a lot when I'm out.
I do it too.
Also, I felt the same kind of feeling, but it wasn't so much. I could explain it as like maybe it was like a person more than like anything that wasn't a person. But no, I was on another walk and I was by myself.
Yeah.
And I was on Montorsville Beach, and when I went back into the thing, I felt just being watched really heavily.
Yeah.
You know. Peeking around.
These things are plucking people out of thin air. They're when I was talking to Victor, he had said about how he felt that Sasquatch were mostly responsible for the disappearances and aliens. He doesn't think there's much dogmen, but he thinks that it's Sasquatch and aliens, especially aliens. Mm-hmm. And there was a story, I don't know if I just heard this story. I get people that write into me all the time, stories. They send me stories, or I do interviews and stuff. And there was a young girl that was standing out in her yard playing at her house. Yeah. And it was a family yard. They had different kids. Yeah. The father was a doctor. Mm-hmm. And he came out and he said he's noticed her staring at this spot out over in kind of like where the trees were. Sorry, my throat's a little messy. And he said that he didn't think anything of it. He went about his business. Yeah. Came back about 10 minutes later. She's still standing there staring at the spot.
Whew, okay.
So he said he looked at her and he said, "What's wrong? Or what are you looking at? What are you doing?" And she said, "They want me, or he wants me, or it wants me to. It told me I have to go." Was what it said.
Okay, go ahead.
Let me finish this. Mm-hmm. And she said, "It told me it had to go." And he said, "Who told you you had to go?" And she said, "Don't you see it? It's standing over there. It's an all black figure." She was the only one that could see it. Get that? That's wacky. Okay, because I think a lot of them you can't see at all. Most you just don't see them. They're invisible. Mm-hmm. And he said he got really upset. He started to try to get her away. Mm-hmm. And she said, "I have to go. It told me I have to go." And he started to try to push her away. She wouldn't move. He said he couldn't get her to move. He started to drag her away. And as he was dragging her, she said, "It doesn't like you." So he said he pointed his gun. He had a rifle. He was holding a rifle or a gun. He pointed his gun at the area she was staring at. And he moved her away. And I'm trying to think how this went so I don't get this wrong. And he took her into the house, and he said she fell asleep. She got really sleepy in the middle of the afternoon, which was something she never did. And she woke up and didn't remember a thing. She had no recollection of it, which is another problem that people have. And he said after that, his wife and him, he said after that, his wife and him would never let their kids play outside alone. In their own backyard. They couldn't even let their kids play outside.
Well, you know what's really weird is that when I used to live here up on the balcony, I used to get called out to the hill a lot.
I remember.
I used to just go out there.
Yep.
All the time.
You never should have done that. You said the one night the garage light was flickering or something, didn't you?
Yeah. I was, I thought Dad was out in the garage. Yeah. And I was in here, and I peeked my head out, and you know what's weird is that I can vaguely remember this, and I don't ever have a problem remembering things.
Yeah.
It's
you
really
don't have a sharp memory of it?
No.
Oh my God.
No, Dad was sitting there, and I said that I looked out in the garage because I was wondering where Dad was at because it was getting late. Yeah. And this is when he was, I think, at his other job when he was doing like the day shifts. Yeah. Because I was like, this is getting really late. Dad needs to go to sleep soon. So I peeked my head out, and the garage light was like this bright white. Yeah. Like it was, you couldn't even see into the garage because it was white. Right. It was like a really bright light was just inside the garage. And it was on the seam of the door. Like, the seam of like if you had opened up the door and like the garage was like full of light and you could see like the scene get bigger and smaller.
Mm-hmm.
I looked down the garage and I saw the white light flicker a couple times and then it just went on. It just went on.
Right.
Like it just turned on.
On by itself, yeah.
And it wouldn't. But like I said though, you couldn't see anything in the garage. You could just see the light.
Right.
This bright white light. And so I was staring at it and I'm like sitting there like, what is going on? I'm like, okay, what is that? And I was like fully conscious. I'm getting more memory about this back because it's been a while. I was like, what is going on? And then all of a sudden I saw the door open up more.
That's insane.
The door opened up just slightly more.
And it's always locked.
And
the door's always
and I'm
locked.
like sitting there and just something was like, you know, like you get that immediate curiosity of like what's going on.
Trying to draw you in.
Come on in, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then what I felt though when I was I remember this specifically, when I was on the porch staring at that thing, is that something was going to grab me before I even got to that door.
Really?
That there was like creatures or like there was things that were on the walking path next to our tree over here, and then our place said that like basically like the surrounding path to the garage door, that something was going to grab me way even before I got to that door.
That's crazy, Chan.
Yeah, that was really weird. And then I shut the door and I went back in the house. Like I wasn't like in a trance, like I wasn't feeling anything weird, but I definitely. And then I talked to Dad about it. I was like, were you like in the garage last night? He's like, and then I found out he was like sleeping. He was dead asleep. And then he said that he went back out there the next day and it was locked. There was no lights on.
We always keep the garage door locked. And this was way before we even had any awareness of dogmen or we didn't have any true awareness of like, you know, even Bigfoot, aliens, like you believe in them, but you don't really know that there's like thousands of disappearances a year that are going on.
The white face thing that we saw all the time.
The what?
The white face thing that we like.
Oh, that vampire. Oh my God!
Like we don't even know what that was.
We all three saw it.
We all three saw that thing in the first 4 months of us living here. Nobody told anybody what they saw. No. Everybody said, "Hey,
it looked like a vampire.
It looked like a weird vampire." And you said you saw it, and I kept seeing it like in my head. Yeah, and I was.
It was pressed up against my window in my car.
That's so terrifying. It's terrifying.
The van.
You know what's really weird though is that the night that I remember the night specifically that you wouldn't let me go take out the trash because of the creature in the backyard.
Yeah, I was aware of it. Then
I was so mad. I was like, I should be able to take out the trash for my mom.
I remember that.
Do you remember that?
Yes,
night?
And you insisted on taking the trash out.
I said I want to take out the trash. I said this is ridiculous. I'm scared of a stupid thing out in the backyard because I can't even take out my trash because you can hear it like running around the yard. Yeah, and I've heard it. Like I remember being on the balcony.
Just for all you guys to understand the picture here, when we take out our trash, it's like about
like a
block away from our house. Like our yard is way far away, and then there's this garage that looks like a house, and then behind the house there's like you go up a path kinda, and then there's like the area where we put it way far away from the house. So when she says she had to take out the trash, she means she's got to walk like a block and a half away from the house in the pitch black, when we're all seeing this vampiric looking creature in our minds or just seeing it.
Yeah, you guys saw it. I saw its like body and I heard it. Yeah. There's so much about that because like when we first moved in, I kept seeing this thing that it was like the crimson chin jaw. It was really elongated.
Really long.
Really,
it almost looked like a scream mask with teeth.
Yes.
It was crazy looking.
But his forehead was really big, you know, and his eyes really like sharp.
Yeah, it wasn't totally like that. It was, but it had that white, like that real distorted. To me, it reminded me, and he was very tall, elegantly dressed in all black, almost like a black trench coat. Yes. All black. He looked like and he was very calm. He was very still, and he just was like almost like waiting. Yeah. Well, you know?
Do you remember the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen? Do you remember that movie? Yeah. Do you remember when the guy put on the paint because he was invisible? Yeah. That's how white he was. Yeah. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I know, it's really white.
Exactly how white he was. Right. And that's how I saw him. And
me too.
Razor sharp teeth.
Razor sharp teeth.
Like jaws. Yep. Like sharp teeth.
That's how I saw him.
And they were kind of like bloody.
He moved his head like I was out cleaning the van. I told you guys, to my listeners, I told you guys this story and probably, I don't know, the first few episodes I put up here, I did tell about this story just from my perspective. So, but it was, I was out in the van cleaning it and I looked over and I saw it move its face into my window. and then all of a sudden I felt this light come into the van.
Yeah, you told
Remember,
me
I
that.
thought it was Grandma.
Yeah, Mima.
But now it might have been Grandma.
No,
because I felt in my soul it was my grandmother that came in, sat down in the van, and she was smiling at me, and she was just there to protect me. And I remember turning around and I said, well, hello, Grandma.
Aww.
And I was like, and I knew it was her. I was like, it's Grandma.
Yeah. With that thing, I had basically 2 good experiences with that thing. Is that I was on the balcony. I was always out on the balcony.
Well, the balcony was off your room.
And I used to stand out there for a while and just like watch the stars of that. And I heard this thing. I heard like a shingle on the roof. Like I heard something land on the balcony. I wasn't out on the balcony yet. Yeah, that's what happened. I heard something land on the balcony. Yeah. It sounded like somebody jumped on it from the roof onto the balcony. And I like peeked out there. I saw nothing. So then I opened it up and I looked outside, and then it sounded like something jumped off of something. Like you could hear the like, you know, that noise. Yeah. And it sounded like something landed in the gravel part of our driveway. I could hear boots go.
Oh, and that's what he was wearing.
I heard. And I heard it at the other end of the yard in the other gravel patch.
See, that's what Dad
It sounded like something jumped from this end of our driveway, like the block away on the other side. And I heard it sounded like he jumped across our entire yard.
Well, that's what Dad said.
And I was like, I literally just went back inside. I couldn't even handle it. I was like, what just happened? Like, what do I do? You know what I mean? I was terrified.
It's real typical for them to be on roofs. And they jump from one roof to, but Dad said he's twice now or 3 times he's heard something on the roof of the garage, which our garage has 2 floors. Yeah. So if you're hearing something on the roof and you're on the first floor, you're hearing something. Yeah. And he said that he heard something really heavy, and all of a sudden he just felt the vibration of it lift off and go to like a jump that would be I don't know how many 100 feet across to Karen and Ivor's house, but it was a lot.
Well, I remember that night though that you wouldn't let me take out the garbage. That I went on the balcony and I screamed at it. I said, this is ridiculous. You should not be allowed here. I was talking about Jesus. I was like, in Jesus' name, like, you need to leave. You need to leave this family alone. And I started like imagining like a bubble around the house. And ever since then, it calmed down. It was really weird.
Yeah, well, I
freaked out on it.
I feel that, in my opinion, whether you're a believer or non-believer, if you have got to learn to invoke the name of the Lord in order to protect yourself from these creatures.
Yeah, no, I remember. You have to. We were in Paul's grandmother's house after she had passed away, and we were in her house painting. Yeah. And something had tried to follow me home from her house, and I think it was her mom, but it was like a demented version of her mom, and she was really mad that I was in her house because I was like changing it, and I'm not a part of the family. Yeah. Because she would sit there, and I actually had to lock myself in the room I was painting because she would sit there in the doorway and stare at me, and I felt it, and she was like really like really old and like creepy and shit.
Sounds like a demon.
And I was like, and she would just sit there, and it was really weird. What soothed me is I used to put Ghost Adventures on. That's what soothed me. Yeah. And because I was like hearing about ghosts and I was like experiencing it, and I had to lock myself in the room because I couldn't stand the door being open because I couldn't handle it.
I feel that
and
demons.
Then she followed. I had to go home, and before I left my car into my house, I told her, you're not welcome here. You need to leave. And I felt it, like the presence just
leave. Yeah.
And I was like, cool.
I feel sometimes when
you have to talk to Jesus though.
You do. With my sister, when that demon visited me, and I thought it was my sister. Yeah. And then the next day, I heard God tell me that wasn't your sister Tracy. That was the demon that was inside of her. That was crazy. I feel that there's times that we leave the demons that were either with us. Yeah. Attached to us, followed us, were inside of us. Yeah. When we pass and we die, what you're seeing is that's the demon that's left. Yeah. And you think it's the person.
I don't think.
But they take on the form of what it looks like his mother, but it was actually the demon that inhabited even around her. It doesn't have to be necessarily inside of somebody, but it could be. I think we all have demons attached to us to some degree.
Sure. But I don't feel like personally, I do not feel. This is my personal beliefs, and I think it might stem from a lot from the Bible. I don't think that there's just a human soul wandering around.
No, I don't either.
That when you die,
you're gone.
You go somewhere.
Right.
I feel like everything that we experience, like when you're in your house and you really experience things or you hear things, you really think that that's like a little kid running around?
No, I think it's a demon.
You feel like it feels like there's a twinge wrong, even though it might feel innocent and it might feel
it's a trick.
Little things.
It's a trick.
It's to draw you away. Like it's supposed to
to gain sympathy.
You're supposed to be endeared by it. Like that's all they're doing. That's their whole job.
Yeah, especially children. Children.
It's just
like when you guys saw that little boy that one night. I talked about that too.
That threw me off.
But that if somebody sees a child, they're like, well, you can't get it. You can't kick a child out of the house.
Yes, you can.
You're gonna keep. But that's what it's trying to appeal to our maternal paternal instincts, and they trick us, and that's why.
But when you see those little kids, don't they look scary as ever?
Well, the black-eyed children do. Have you ever heard about the black-eyed children?
I don't talk about it.
Oh, those are awful.
I walk out to the truck by myself.
No, that's true.
Leave me
I
alone.
can walk you out.
No, then you gotta walk by yourself, and I'm not. No,
I'm used to it. I'm protected too, honey.
No, I know, but I talk to God a lot. I talk to Him every single time I travel or do anything because I know that there's
you'd have to.
There's things there.
Always ask for forgiveness too. Like the one thing that we have to remember is that we're constantly in a state of, trying to not sin or just sin, and you have to, try to always before you pray, always try to make sure that you ask for forgiveness before you ask for anything, because you have to kind of clear the slate with God. Because I feel that sin. It keeps a veil there. It keeps if you're living in sin and you're doing something, that isn't clean in God's eyes, it could create a block where He doesn't really respond to your prayer as much.
You just showed me something very crucial that I need to not think that everybody means bad ill. So I have a problem with that. I think that everybody is just... Not everybody. Let me correct myself. I think that when people start to get close-ish to me, I think that they're immediately just not a great person. Yeah. No, it's not that they're not bad. I just think that they're not like their intentions aren't fantastic. And I got told that
you don't trust.
I know, not very well.
You're not a good trusting person.
No.
I mean, you're a good person, but you're not good at trusting person. Yeah, you're not a good trusting person, Chandler.
No, but I was told that you need to, not always look for the negative stuff. Yeah. You need to take
it's hard not to.
Take it with a grain of salt. Take everything day by day, minute by minute. Just, take people how they're portraying to you. Don't walk away from them and then start analyzing them crazily, But I always ask Him to show me things that I'm doing wrong.
He will. If you ask, He'll show. Hey. Says seek and ye shall find in the Bible. Yeah. You'll find what you're looking for if you're really searching for it. Yeah. And your heart is genuinely in it, your mind is, you're gonna find it. It just it takes time. And like I said, some people, we don't even know, we don't really truly know, what's going on and what's out there and what afterlife is. And it's important not to try to judge too harshly, just try to let people, and if they ask you, tell them what you feel or what you believe, but it doesn't mean they have to agree with you, so you just do the best you can with people. But I know it's hard to trust them, but
honestly,
it's hard to
I guess I don't know, it's hard to, trust is,
I'm trying to get Chandler to tell you guys. I want, she's got some stories. Paul's got a story about a Christmas story. Don't tell me what it is yet.
Oh, it's so good. And it's so short, but you'll just sit there and you'll just don't understand what's going on.
Yeah, she's taunting us now. Yeah. But she's got some other stories. There's one about she saw a little person. I did tell them about the rake we saw the one night when we were together. I talked about that. Remember when we were driving and that white figure, the white skeletal being crossed the road in front of the car when I was taking you down to your house? And you and I went, what was that? And Paul was like, what? He was in the back seat? You don't remember?
Wow, that's really... It's so vague.
Yeah, I'm gonna refresh your memory.
I remember you telling me what was... And
no,
I remember
you saw it.
No,
I
remember seeing the flash.
Yeah.
You know what's really weird?
What?
Same thing happened to me the one night I was taking Justin home to his apartment. I was driving and all of a sudden it looked like this. It looked like, the Dementors from Harry Potter?
Yeah.
It looked like that, but gray. And it looked like that, but gray and brown, and you could see right through it. And it went in front of the car, and it danced, and then it went down into the river.
She's a very strong sensitive. She's literally almost like psychic. Yeah, I'm the same way. We have so many encounters between the two of us. It's unreal.
I don't open up at all. I keep myself so closed
so
up.
Do I.
It's insane.
Imagine if we opened up.
That's what scares me.
Yeah.
No, I don't want to because I feel like my little camper would be loaded with stuff I don't want to be loaded with.
I can't even be alone because as soon as I'm in the house alone, I get crowded by everything.
I get just crowded. Stay in that room over there.
Yeah, I know. That room is kind of freaky.
That room's horrible. It needs a door. It really does.
I'm going to be staying in my car down by your camper.
It's okay. Just gotta watch out.
I'll just pull in my own little camper and be like, Chandler, just hook me up.
Watch out for the rotting smell out there. Remember that story?
No, just tell me next time we see each other.
Do you not know that? Oh, I didn't tell you that?
No, you didn't tell me. Don't tell me now. She has, guys, I'm telling you, she has a lot of stories. I mean, this kid has been psychic since she was a kid. I remember her standing and like, oh my God, guys, there's like, I swear, there must be like 50 stories you have of stuff.
Do you know, remember Jonesy? Paul
Jonesy,
said
that
name
familiar.
to me the other day. My protector that used
Jonesy, that's right.
That used to sit in the rocking chair.
Jonesy, yeah.
He used to sit in the rocking chair and watch over me because of the crazy like demons in the house.
Yeah.
Paul.
That was a little old man that sat in a rocker that she saw.
Old.
Oh, I thought he was old.
He was like 30 years old. And I never saw his face, but his eyes glowed, and he was always dressed in.
God.
He was always dressed in really, really, really baggy. Like he had like that brown cloth, heavy gloves, heavy jacket, heavy boots, and you couldn't see any like feature about him, but you could know. I knew he was a guy.
Oh my gosh!
And I remember
he was younger.
I woke up in the middle of the night, and he was in my rocking chair, and the rocking chair was like slightly rocking. And I looked over at him and I said, "Hey, Jonesy," and I went back to sleep. And he was just like, he just sat there.
You just knew his name.
He just was so nice to me.
How old were you?
I was 9.
Okay.
And then he started to go away when I was like 13.
Older. Yeah.
He started to go away when I.
How you said his eyes glowed? Red, white?
No, like yellow. It was like yellow white.
Oh, that's good.
But it was like really dull.
That sounds like a more protective.
It wasn't
spirit.
It wasn't like bing. It was like dull and.
It's the red eyes you got to worry about.
Yeah. No, I don't.
Red and black stuff like that. I would be a little
weird.
concerned.
When I was a kid, I saw Mr. Plankenhorn in the living room, and
reading
he had red eyes.
No, he didn't.
He had red eyes. He wasn't nice. Yeah, it was not Mr. Plankenhorn. He was reading the red book with a cigarette in his hand, but he had red eyes underneath his glasses. Or black. They were black and red. It was black and they were outlined with red. That's what they looked like.
My God.
And he looked up at me and I saw his wife in the same 10 seconds, and she flipped her dress, and then I saw the shadow man. It was all this stuff happened to me in 5 minutes.
You were like this ever since you were 3. It started with you when you were about 3, and I was like that from the time I can remember being 3 to 4, or 5 years old. I was
play with Ouija boards. I didn't do anything like that. I was born.
No, I was saying. Well, I think you get it from me. I think you get it from me, and your dad's a little bit like that too. So I think between the two of us, you got a double dose of both your parents. Sorry, I'm coughing. I'm just. My throat got so dry. Okay. I'm gonna have her on hopefully next week. I keep bugging her and she's been very busy.
No, I was offering up to tomorrow.
Yeah, that would be great. Yeah, tomorrow.
I
don't want to spoil you guys with too many episodes in 1 week. You might fall off your chair if I actually, put something up twice in a week. It might actually shock you. So I don't want to be responsible for shocking my listeners.
There's so much stuff. I gotta tell them about the time I went to your parents, Mima and Bob's house.
Yeah, I did tell them about that. Yeah,
the
big room. Yeah, but I want them to know all the stories from your perspective because you've got so much more detail than I do.
Oh,
because you saw it. Yeah, you saw it. I didn't. So
it was weird. I was just a little door of information from all these guys, and then as I got older, after when we moved into here, I realized how dangerous things can get. Yeah. So then that's when I closed everything off.
This was threatening here. This was when we moved in. It was
aggressive.
It was a very it was an adjustment period for people that are empaths and psychic ability type people.
Too much.
It was hard for us at first, and there was all of us. There was Tressa who is you, me, Dad.
Nobody went outside by themselves for the first year.
Even Rob. Rob was also very
he was
very sensitive.
Nope.
So we had an interesting time moving in here, but it has quieted down tremendously. There's still activity, but it's almost like we've all kind of acclimated to each other. Mm-hmm. Now it doesn't mean that things aren't going to come in and out either, because I feel that you know, these spirits and entities still, there's bad and good ones that come in and out of your life, you know.
You gotta remind me all this stuff.
I know, I will. We'll have to write it all down. Okay, I'm gonna cut this off tonight because I have to say goodbye to her. She's gonna be leaving here soon, guys, and I hope you enjoyed this. But I wanted you to hear about this Ricketts Glen story because it just kind of blew my mind after Tressa just called me and told me about her friend Lily having that experience last week, which is on my last week or a couple days ago, that episode. So if you want to hear about that one, it's on there. You guys have a good night. Take care.